Hello everyone. I've had some requests for more examples of IFS. I'm glad you guys benefit from examples. I do too. I love it. I love like real detailed, deep, specific examples. It helps me see my own parts and get a lot of nuances from it. So I'll share another part that I was working on recently. So this is about procrastination and reaching our dreams and our goals. So I had a specific goal, a life goal, it's pretty big, that has been what I really want. It just really resonates and has for a very long time. And the more I get in touch and like go deeper into my heart of like what is my heart's deepest desire, I really do think that the deepest desires we find deep inside of our heart are very telling and are very are really close to our soul. They're like often tied into our calling or our mission or our unique gifts that we have to offer the world to help add value and improve the world. And that's what this specific goal was. It was really tied into that. And so over a period of years, I kept getting more and more dialed into like seeing and feeling and comprehending this goal. And then I worked like crazy on clearing wounds and disbelief tied around it. I actually had a lot of wounds. I was surprised that along the way, different thoughts I'd have throughout my life of like, oh, I would never want to have that job, or I would never, I don't like being in that type of building or environment, or being, having those types of responsibilities. And it was actually, those were all part of it. And they had such a negative repulsion to me because they were actually my strengths and like pieces of me that had wounds on them. And so I'd have a strong reaction of like, ugh. It was only because that was how strong and severe the wound was that was tied to it. So I've been healing all of these wounds, specific wounds, all tied to this. So I'm getting to the point of like not only seeing and feeling this dream, this vision. Sorry, I'm not mentioning what it is. You can just apply this to anything that comes to mind. I was getting more and more clarity on this, and I was also beginning to believe it was possible more and more as I was healing all these different blocks. And it took years. It's taken many years. And I was getting so excited to see the ways that it was possible, it could really happen in my life. I could do it, and I could actually live that goal that I've only like fantasized of previously. And I would just celebrate every time I made another step towards it, and was getting really excited about the potential of that actually happening in my life, being a part of my life. And okay, so then what was interesting was that once there were no more barriers, there were some external barriers, time barriers, like all kinds of stuff. And once those were all cleared, it was like I had the go ahead of like, step into it, like just start doing it, like go, yeah, like nothing's holding you back now. And I still wouldn't. Like some part of me would just put on the brakes hard, and it was exhausting. Like to take one step into it would take like all day. Like it would be the tiniest little step, and it would just take all of my effort and all of my energy. So as I was looking at that, of like, why? What's going on here? Nothing is stopping me. Like I want this so badly, and it's totally available. And there's like multiple ways it could happen. Like there's multiple avenues. But every time I take a step, I just have so much resistance. So this is what I found out. I had a part of me that was using that could go to that goal and picture myself having it, picture myself in it, and it saw that it was very accessible to me now, so it was easy to believe that I could have it. And it was using that, it would rather use that for encouragement than to actually go towards attaining it and have it not turn out Does that make sense? Okay. So I've been practicing. I did Deepak Chopra's a 21-day abundance meditation program recently, where you experience connecting into the energy of abundance in a variety of different ways, because there's lots of different kind of avenues or areas or categories in life where you can connect into it or not. And so I was just like, I could easily connect into it and connect into the feeling of abundance and the feeling of unlimited possibilities, an abundant universe. You can have, like our capacity of what we can have and experience is so much higher than we ever thought when we were growing up and buying into a lot of limiting beliefs. And I could go there quickly, and it was delicious and yummy, and I could feel it, visualize it, experience it, believe, and it was wonderful. And I realized one of the reasons why I could do that was because a part of me could see. I've cleared a bunch of financial blocks and money blocks previously that I carried through childhood and into adulthood. So I've been clearing those and then moving towards actually we're not as limited as I thought we were, as human beings, and the universe can support us in abundance in all ways, including financially. But this part of me, getting close to this dream, tied into that for that part, and it found that believing that was around the corner, that was coming, that was accessible, brought it a lot of hope, and it could just hold on to that like a little balloon, keep myself buoyant and it up high in the abundance energy by holding on to that belief of that being possible. So then what if I started going about doing, stepping into this dream and living it? There's a possibility of it going really well and just taking off, manifesting and being created instantly, just really rapidly. How great would that be? How fun would that be? Or there's the possibility that it would take a while, to fully materialize in the material world. And that would be a little bit slower than the really exciting possibility. Or what if it didn't work very well and I just and it was much slower and painful and hit a lot of dead ends and wrong directions first before being able to move forward into it. So a part of me really loved the potentiality of it taking off easily and beautifully and quickly, and it wasn't willing to lose that balloon. So it would rather me not take any of the steps so that it would at least be able to keep holding on to that balloon. Because if I step forward and it was one of the other outcomes where it's working but it's slower, or it's not working that well, it's going to take a lot of effort and work, or it couldn't bear that. So because then it would be left with nothing, its beautiful potentiality that it would hold on to for hope and encouragement and to connect to abundance energy and connect to belief and possibility instead of being in doubt and failure energy or lack. Without that anymore, it was said oh no, what if we never find anything else as beautiful to hold on to, or nothing actually ever goes that well for the rest of our life? Then we'll have peaked. This will have been the most abundant, joyful moment of our life, and then everything else would be realizing that reality actually is not that abundant. And how sad would that be? I'd rather stay right here holding my balloon and feeling how great the idea feels rather than stepping forward and losing it. So it made a lot of sense why I'd get so tired and exhausted, and I'd have full physiological reaction for every single little step. So here is my reframe. So I didn't actually do a full IFS session on this one. Sometimes I just, while I'm going about my day, I just observe and talk and observe, so it's not in exactly the same layout or format as an IFS session. But my reframe, which flowed into me and I enjoyed, was my goal and my desire is to be a conduit for creation, for source. I really loved the book, The war of art. I know, a little flip around there. And that's all he talks about, is like being a conduit for genius, for source to flow through, because when you're allowing source to flow through you rather than you being the one creating, it's going to be way better. And you're going to serve the world much better. Anywho, so that's my desire as well, to be a conduit for source to flow through. Therefore, like, what's getting created and by me and by my hands or in front of me isn't just me. It's something better and more aligned, and can be created much more smoothly and faster and serve the world better. So this is my reframe. If I allow source to flow through me, then I won't necessarily, I can't control it. I can't control what it looks like or the outcome or the results. None of it's guaranteed, especially if I'm releasing the reins in that way. But the beauty of, if I let source flow through me as I create and take each step, I won't know what the outcome will be, but I'll know eventually it will create something useful. And if I take a step and say like, oh, this is my first step in creation, I expect to get, however big that step was or however much effort it took, I expect to get an equal amount of like feedback and rise. And then the second step, I expect it to always be equal to my effort. But source might have different plans. Source might say like, yeah, take this step because it's going to help that one person over there who needs help right now, or who needs help in this way. And then take this step because it's going to transform something inside of you that's needed in order to move forward. And then take this step because it's going to soften the heart of someone who's going to become a partner in this project 5 years down the road. And then take this step because it's going to significantly produce a lot of your goal. And then take this step over here because it's going to help improve or produce a little bit of result. Like, if I'm letting source flow through me, then I won't actually know the intended purpose for each step or what kind of an outcome to expect. So part of me wanted like guarantees of like, I want to see how it's going to go. I want to see the outcome before I take the step, so I know that it's going to be worth my time. Because if I take a step and only one person in the whole world is impacted, or I only get this much of a reaction, then it's not worth it. But with surrendering and being a conduit, you can't know the result. You just keep stepping, and as long as you keep stepping, it'll keep flowing and you'll get to be experiencing it. So a part of me would like hold back and be like, no, I want it to happen first so I know that this is worthwhile before I move forward. But it doesn't come that way. It comes as you're doing it. So that comforted the part quite a bit. There still might be, I think I can feel a little bit on like the right side of my sternum, some sensation of like apprehension or like, yeah, so that part so that part still got some emotions it's carrying, which might just be a part of the process. Like, it might not be able to fully unburden until it's experienced going through more steps to gain more trust in me and my belief that flowing with source will be worthwhile. So there you go. There's one example. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy it and have a wonderful day.